Program, Andre Xavier, serial entrepreneur, all around nice guy, father, husband. This man owns soon to be four. I guess Patch counts as now. That's four, right?
It is an official business.
Yeah.
It's absolutely four.
So 4 businesses.
Yes.
He has. Andre Xavier's also in studio. We were reminiscing about the last time in studio and how much we missed talking and seeing people, and feels good to be vaccinated.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Freedom.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel freedom as well. I was having that conversation with my wife, and we both felt free. Now, the next thing, and I'll ask you about this, so save your thought for this. The next thing we're really hoping for, Andre, is that our little boy gets the vaccine. I know my wife certainly does. But we'll spend about 45 minutes or so with an all-around great guy. We'll welcome Andrew Baxter to the show. Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the broadcast. Andrew Craig is also watching the show. Joanne Tavormina, hello and welcome to the show. Johnny Ornalis, thank you for sharing. Johnny Ornalis, you are such a good supporter of this program, as is this man, Andre Xavier. You guys from the beginning have been watching this, and we're grateful for you. Vanessa Parkhill, the fabulous entrepreneur herself and the bookkeeper. Hello, Vanessa. You're going to love to hear about Patch Brewing Co., Vanessa, in Gordonsville. This little area is blowing up, and I think you're going to find Andre's spirit very inspiring. I certainly do, Vanessa. Give the show a like and a share. We'll start in about 20 seconds. If you have any props you want to give to Andre, just put them in the feed. John Hunt in Keswick, hello. Judah, our buddy John Hunt, watching the broadcast. The gentleman has I think I want to say a farm in Keswick. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn there, John. Welcome to the show. We love when you watch the broadcast. Judah Wickower, we can start in about 10 seconds. And viewing and listening population, any questions for the co-founder of Patch Brewing Co., DM me, put it in the comments section, send me a tweet, a DM on Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, and we'll get started here with Andre. It's going to be fun. We are good to go, my friend. Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seville show. Thank you so much for joining us here this Wednesday. Absolutely beautiful here in Central Virginia. We're going to spend the next 45 minutes or so with the friend of the show. His name is Andre Xavier, a serial entrepreneur of tremendous proportions, successful proportions. And most folks that are serial entrepreneurs, guys, may be jack of all trades, master of none. Andre is the opposite of this. This guy is mastering the craft of each of his businesses. I think 2 he's co-founded and started with John Craig. 2 he's done himself, and the businesses he has are having a hugely positive impact on the Central Virginia economy. And I'm not just talking Charlottesville and Albemarle County, but Nelson and Orange and Louisa, in Fluvanna, Gordonsville. This guy is bringing incremental revenue to tax bases across municipalities everywhere in Central Virginia. Frankly speaking, we should be championing and celebrating this dude and these teams all the time for the efforts that they're done for this community. We will welcome Andre in about 15 seconds. We want to thank Dr. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine for being a long-term client of VMV Brands, our advertising agency, and one of the presenting sponsors of the I Love Seville Network. Dr. Wagner absolutely has your back. And of course, Ting Fiber Internet powers this network. It's crazy fast internet, and it's the best. We use it here at our I Love Seville studio. J-Dubs, my friend, I think without further ado, let's go to the studio camera and let's welcome a man that, I'm going to straight up say this, I admire. I look to you for a lot of guidance on national trends, especially trends that are in Europe, overseas, in South America. This dude is extremely well-read, very well read, and is a savvy, experienced entrepreneur. Andre, I can follow you around all week if you would like me to do this. So welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, Jerry. It's always a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You know we love you here. Before we talk shop, which I'm extremely eager to do, for the very few that don't know you in this community, introduce yourself to everybody.
Absolutely. So my name is Andre Xavier. I'm a small business owner here in Charlottesville. I'm the co-founder of Civil Travel, Civil Tours, Civil Hop-On Tours, and now Patch Brewing Co. I love Charlottesville. Have a beautiful family. I have 2 boys, a beautiful wife, Charlie, and just trying to do the best we can to promote our community.
Johnny Ornelas, a 2-restaurant owner, El Mariachi in Guadalajara, says, bravo, Andre, bravo.
Thank you.
More comments coming in, which I will get to, including this one from Jennifer, who's straight up asking, when can I take a hop-on tour to Patch Brewery? Jennifer, I promise you I will ask Andre that question. All right, before we get into Patch, why don't we set the stage? Because not everyone knows Patch yet.
Absolutely.
How about the who, what, when, where, why of Patch?
Absolutely. So my business partner, John Craig, and I, we own Hop-On Tours now for about 6 years. So we are a craft beer tour company specialized in craft beverage tours. After, say, a year or 2 of Hop-On, we start kind of talking amongst ourselves and say, hey, how awesome it would be to have our own venue. And we've been looking for, I would say, 3 or 4 years now that we're looking for a venue. We started looking in Nelson County, Route 151, of course. That's the most popular area, and really could not find the perfect location. And then very recently we came across this property in Gordonsville, Route 231, the former VFW building. John Craig saw that they have reduced the price for sale. We thought it would be a good fit for us. We visited the property. We fell in love with the location. And pretty much here we are. It's been a very interesting journey to get here, but we're very excited that now we do own that property. So the work has started, and that's kind of how we came to Patch.
Our fabulous director, Judah Wickower, is showing an aerial shot of the Patch land. I mean, this is a massive piece of property here.
Yep.
What are we talking?
Yeah, it's about 14 acres.
Wow.
Yep.
14 acres, Andre. I remember when you had the idea, and welcome Rochelle Poole de Bon to the broadcast. I remember when you and John were brainstorming this idea, and the idea had so many, it had different iterations, like a lot of good ideas did. At one point, the idea was maybe an epicenter for the hop-on buses, kind of like a garage or a meeting point where you can store them. Obviously, you're savvy, and so is John, businessman and businessmen. There's certainly some vertical integration and complementary, synergy there with Hop-On and Patch.
Absolutely.
But first, more with Patch. What can we expect with the 14-acre brewery?
Absolutely. So the way the property is divided, so we have 14 acres. I would say about 6 of those acres, it is the open field. So a lot of outdoor seating, grassy areas. We actually have a very unique feature that we have a baseball field on site. So do expect to see a lot of community games, and not only for kids, adults, softball and kickball, all that will be on site. We do have about 5.5 acres of walking trails. So actually the trails will be an awesome addition that if you do the entire kind of trails will be a 1 mile of trail. So it's a good, actually beautiful wooded area. And then of course we have our main building. That main building is about 7,000 square feet. And then out of that, 4,000 is the beer hall. So it's a very large indoor space. And then we have an outdoor pavilion. That's kind of where we're working right now for the phase 1, for the opening, which I'm going to more details in a little bit. But for phase 1, we're going to have the outdoor pavilion and outdoor sittings. So pretty much we're going to have like 3 main areas of service. So the beer hall, outdoor pavilion, and then down the road, we have a concession stand as well that will be opening up. So there's a lot of green space, a lot of outdoor space, perfect place to bring the kids play. We're going to have a fantastic kids area as well, very kind of natural, with a lot of natural elements. So we're very excited for it.
It's great. So let's turn this part into a sizzle reel. The part where I started with what can we expect from Patch just a little bit ago, and let's continue through this question, Judah. Why don't we get the aerial shot on screen for the sizzle reel as well? Type of beers we can expect, type of food we can expect, and then I think a natural follow-up to that would be the emergence of this this trail that's being created on that part of the county, Albemarle, going into Gordonsville.
Absolutely. So in terms of beers, we're going to start probably about 6 beers between IPAs, pale ales, brown ales, hefes, Kolsch, Lager, Pilsner. There'll be a rotating selection. As you can see, we do have a little bit of a Germanic influence on our beers. One thing I can promise you that quality is very important to us, so we're going to use the best ingredients possible to provide a fantastic product to our customers. We are going to be creating seasonal beers that will kind of rotate with our core beers. We're also going to have cider and wine as well. We're going to be partner up with brands that we align ourselves in terms of values to be providing those products to our clients as well. And in terms of 231, you're correct. 231, I think, has a huge potential that we are really about to see flourishing. I would say in about 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a very different experience. Right now, we have Keswick Vineyards, been there for a while. We have Castle Hill. We just opened up Mary Mill as well. So patch coming up. Our goal is to have phase 1 by September. So I think we're going to create a much more interesting route. And we actually have to mention that 231 is a beautiful scenic drive. It's a beautiful drive. From downtown to Patch is less than 30 minutes, about 28 minutes. So it's a beautiful drive. And once you get there, there's, again, a lot of outdoor space and, a great family for the a great place to spend time with your family.
Great, Judah. That would be the end of that. Sizzle Reel, if we could drop that in the Google Drive, we can also send that to Andre, too. So questions are coming in. Johnny Ornalis, we'll get to yours. Jamie Turner, who grew up in Gordonsville, playing at that little league field, we will get to your. In fact, why don't we do this now? So there's a lot of it coming in. That way you can kind of acknowledge it.
Okay.
If there's questions or they're giving you props, you can give them props back. Rochelle says, "Hi, Andre Xavier.
Hey,
I
Rochelle.
look forward to drinking a cold beverage on a hot summer day. Congratulations on all your success."
Thank you so much, Rochelle. Appreciate that.
Johnny Ornalis says, "El Mariachi will love to have Patch beer on site."
Oh, wow. So
Is that something that can happen?
So it's absolutely something that can happen. Full disclosure, actually, our initial idea was to not do any kind of distribution, to truly have beer on site, to be an authentic craft brewery on site beer. But of course, for local businesses, we'll be more than happy to have a talk and see how we can collaborate. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
Great comment, Johnny Ornalis. Jamie Turner, he says, "I grew up playing Gordonsville Little League on that field and attending events at the VFW. I'm super excited to see the evolution and the restoration of the space. Thank you, sir." Jamie Turner, anything else you want to add about Orange County or Gordonsville? We love when you comment on the show. We respect your opinion. Just put it here in the feed. Multiple folks are asking about how you got to this point. So why don't we do the flip book? You have an idea in your head, you and John. You're brainstorming back and forth.
Yep.
John finds a piece of dirt in Gordonsville.
Right.
Then the fun starts.
Exactly, the fun starts. So, and of course, it's important to remember that when we found that piece of property was during COVID. So we're definitely in a very scary time for our business. We are unsure what's happening in the future. But we saw the opportunity, and we toured the property, and we made an offer. But the fun really started is the listing actually had the incorrect zoning for the building.
Whoa.
Yes.
The listing had the incorrect zoning.
Yes.
So you fell in love with something that had a lot of options?
Correct. It was a commercial property, right?
Okay.
So we're very excited. We made an offer. And as we're going through the checks, and we went to the county to double check the zoning, and we learned that it's actually a residential zoning property.
That's a hell of a mistake.
Yes, but it happens. It's not the first time. It won't be the last.
Okay.
But so now we are...
Genuine mistake, you think?
Could be, I think, lack of experience, but regardless, it worked out, right? So we learned that it's a residential property. So here, I think, is where it's important to mention how awesome Orange County has been to us as a business. They truly opened their doors, very welcoming. So we spent a good amount of time with Rose and her team at the economical development team in Orange County. They advised us what kind of options we had. And one of the ideas was, let's downgrade the property from residential to agricultural. So then now we can have a farm brewery. And of course, a rezoning process is not easy. Everybody who's been through knows, but I can tell you that it's almost like running a political campaign. It's very similar because you have to make sure that your neighbors are happy with the project. You have to make sure that the planning commission and your board of supervisors are also understanding and kind of on their side in terms of the process. So we went.
And were they?
Yes, they were, absolutely. Actually, we had great interaction with our neighbors, very excited about the whole idea of bringing that property back. We had a great interaction with the Board of Supervisors. Of course, there were questions that we were able to address, but at the end of the day, we went through the entire process, which included Planning Commission review, public hearing, a second public hearing, and finally the rezoning. So it was a good, almost 3 months process. So we're very thankful for Orange County for really allowing us to kind of give birth to our idea, for sure.
Is this the first brewery in Orange County?
Not really, because we do have, I believe, Iron Spike is one of there.
Jamie Turner, if you can help us with that. He lives in Orange.
Yes, I think there's a couple breweries in Orange, and then Ice House, which is a brewery restaurant. They just opened up in downtown Gordonsville.
They're brewing there?
I believe so, yes. So
Okay.
they have their own beers there as well. So,
cool.
And by the way, it's a fantastic place for fried chicken. It's awesome.
Yeah, Ice House is the Hunter Smith Craig Hartman partnership.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, family, and I very eager to try that. How about, what did you learn going through this rezoning? You're essentially a lobbyist in a lot of ways because you're lobbying an economic development office, a board of supervisors, perhaps some planning commissioners. What did you learn about this rezoning and this lobbying process?
Absolutely. I think the biggest lesson I learned is you cannot impose your idea to any municipality. The right approach is talk with them and see what is the master plan for the area and try to kind of form your idea around those parameters. So that way you can ensure that you have support of the locality, which is very, very important. But also, furthermore, is your neighbors are the ones who can truly make it or break the whole process. Because if there is any complaints, that has to be dealt with. But if you're able to create a honest conversation with them and be very frank about what your idea is and kind of address their concerns, I think it's a win. But it absolutely takes a lot of work and takes a lot of, as you said, lobbying to get it done, for sure.
Scott Clothier, who's watching, says it's Iron Pipe, Jerry.
Iron Pipe, sorry.
Thank you, Scott, very much. We appreciate that knowledge, sir. Billy Farley, our buddy watching the program. You know Billy well.
Yes, I do.
I'm so excited and proud of my old boss, proud of both my old bosses. Definitely going to be one of their most frequent customers. That's from Billy Farley. Billy, we love you on this program, sir.
Absolutely.
Any props, questions, comments, anything you want to give to Andre, put it in the comment section. I do see the ones coming on Twitter and Instagram. We'll get to those here in a matter of moments. How about financing? If I may ask this question, I know this is a personal question. If I go too far, say, okay.
We're open book here, so go ask.
Okay, so you got you and John.
Yep.
Hop on Tours is booming.
Yes, we've been very blessed.
You have two other businesses, right?
Yes, a travel agency and a tour company, and a wedding transportation, which is an arm of the travel agency.
Right.
Yes.
And is that Civil Travel?
Civil Travel.
Okay.
Then Civil Transportation is my wedding transportation business. And then Civil Tours.
Okay.
Yes.
So this guy's got thriving businesses. How did that help with getting the financing? Were the bankers nervous that they're giving money here to, self-employed guys that are pretty young on the spectrum here?
Yeah, absolutely. That is on itself probably our biggest challenge was secure financing. Again, during COVID, money was tight. Banks were not giving out any money. So we went through actually 2 different banks who told us no.
May I ask who?
I'd rather not tell you. They're great local banks, right? They're local banks.
Sure.
Again, they just did not feel comfortable with the risk, which is fair.
Sure.
Looking back at Hop-on numbers, we dropped drastically during COVID last year.
Sure.
So looking at analysis, it was a very risky kind of ask. But we did find the bank who is willing to take a chance with us, and I will mention their name is Blue Ridge Bank.
Blue Ridge Bank?
Blue Ridge Bank.
Okay,
Absolutely.
local bank.
Local bank.
Yeah.
So Mike, or person there, is fantastic. Truly took the time to understand our ask, and not only look at patch projections and patch potential, he looked back at hop-on history, and he actually did appreciate it, because if you look back at 6 years, we started with 1 bus. 6 years later, now we are operating 15 buses. We own 18 buses.
So Seville Hop-On Tours, Seville Hop-On is 6 years old.
Yes.
You started with 1 bus.
Yes, sir.
Now you have how many buses?
18.
He has 18 buses.
Yes.
And how many you own?
All of them.
You own all 18.
We have no debt.
And he has no debt.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you hear that? This is how you run a business, guys. 6 years ago, he and John Craig started with a dream, 1 bus that John and his father renoed, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Still, but all the buses being done by John.
Yeah.
The indoor, inside of the bus, absolutely, the renovations done by him.
And now they have 18 buses.
Yes, sir.
So how did was the banker willing to look beyond 2020 numbers? Were the other 2 banks not willing to do that?
Correct. So the other 2 banks were hung up to the fact that 2020
There's
was
no
a flop.
revenue.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
we broke
It's
even.
COVID.
Actually, we broke even.
Oh, you did?
We
Nice.
did. So I was thinking that
That's a success.
That's on my book exactly,
Yeah.
but not to the bank, right? So the bank did not want that. But Blue Ridge saw it as a success.
Okay.
So I think what Blue Ridge truly sees is the potential on how someone manages their business and taking the chance. Of course, this deal with Patch there is a real estate component. So the bank has a nice collateral piece there. So it is risky, but yet it's kind of a managed risk. Of course, banks, they know what they're doing.
Sure.
So we have the real estate component. But to go back to...
And help folks, I understand what you're saying there, but help folks understand that. He's basically saying, unlike, and we're not marginalizing anyone, they own the dirt. They own the land. They're not renting the land and the facility from somebody else. They own that. And
Correct.
because that, the bank felt more secure with doing the financing.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Walk folks through that and how that is more secure.
Sure. So the way we're doing, I think, very uniquely in terms of a brewery, we don't have any investors,
Okay.
right? So John and I were very disciplined to that sense. We own the business ourselves, so we do not want outside money in terms of an investor. So we really rely on this particular case, it was financing. So for the first time, we had to borrow money.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is it a lot of money?
for us, it's a lot of money.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we went to the...
Should I ask that or no?
No, I can tell you. I would say it's under $1 million for
Okay,
sure, but
okay.
it's up there, right?
Okay.
So we had to go through the SBA route.
Uh-huh.
So we found a local bank who would be able to process our SBA loan.
Okay.
But what Blue Ridge is doing for us is, because of the time frame with COVID, SBA is a little behind.
Uh-huh.
So we're actually doing a bridge loan to purchase the real estate first.
Sure.
And then SBA is going to come at a later time for us.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we have phase 1 opening in September. And then phase 2 next spring, that's when we're going to open the entire compound. So that's when we're getting financing from SBA. So everything that we're doing right now is out of pocket for me and John. So we are working very hard. So, and huge thank you to John and his father, and they're working really hard. And he's actually right now at Patch working very hard.
John Craig, you're an impressive dude. Please say that to your dad as well. Johnny says Blue Ridge helped us out a lot at El Mariachi.
Glad to hear that.
The bridge loan from Blue Ridge helps you buy the land.
Correct.
And then once you've secured the land, you are using money out of your own pockets.
To renovate that property. Remember, that building is being pretty much
a
without
long
use
time.
for over a decade, right? So, like, once we bush hog, you can see the picture, like, once we bush hog that property, we got to see that actually it's not as flat as we thought. There is actually a little dip. So we've been investing a good amount of money into infrastructure within drainage, roof repairs. We're rebuilding the entire pavilion. We're building 2 bars out of there, space for walk-in, refrigeration. So there's a lot that's happening. And that's kind of the interesting part about COVID. There's a lot of opportunities. Sadly, there's a lot of restaurants closing. So we've been able to actually score some really good deals online at auctions to buy some of the equipment that we need. So it's kind of, there's always opportunity during hard times if you look for. You have to be willing to take the risk and the chance, but that's kind of where we are. So, correct. So then once SBA application is processed. And
Which you think is next spring?
hopefully before.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It is a long time. But no, it will be before. I say probably by this fall we should have the SBA money.
Okay.
But then we have to do the renovations, right?
Got it.
So it's a little bit of time there. So once that loan comes in, then we pay back the bank, and then we bundle into one loan with SBA, which is backed by the government.
Sure, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So you get the loan from Blue Ridge to buy the land. You guys are financing a little bit of the build out now to get to market. And what exactly is it that you guys are doing? Is it let's get something that can help bring customers in and help getting the cash flow started?
Yes, pretty much it. But yeah, so we're actually, the improvements we're making to the property is more on the outside space, right? That's where customers will be. So the pavilion is being completely redone. We're creating 2 bars. We are creating outdoor seating, fire pits, all that, picnic tables. So all that is going to be part of the setup for the fall.
Awesome.
And the idea is correct. So we are going to capitalize on the fall, hopefully have enough revenue, create a good business that we can also utilize that money towards, the renovations as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, takes discipline, and I think we're going to take the same approach we had with Hop On. We had 1 bus. We start small. We're going to start small with Patch, but I would say 3 years from now, 2-3 years from now, depending how successful we are, we're going to see a very different property in terms of improvements and different things. But for now, for the fall, folks can expect a fantastic experience. The beer will be awesome, outdoor space, for kid-friendly. Actually going to have a space for dogs as well, so a little dog park. So there will be a lot of fun things for people to do already in the fall. And then next year, the indoor space will be open.
Nielsen de Silva.
Okay.
Watching, believe in Brazil.
All right.
Glad to see you be successful in America. Congratulations. Happy birthday. So I'm doing the English to Portuguese translation here, and I think a little is getting lost in the translation.
That's awesome.
They say congratulations.
There you go.
Paraphrasing.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we'll get to these questions here. When you and John and the team start adding value to the property, which you guys are doing right now, could you then refinance because you're making the property better?
Yes, we could. The idea actually is, and again, Blue Ridge has been fantastic in guiding us. We are actually going to get a reappraisal done 6 weeks from now with the improvements we have done. Then our application to the SBA will be much more.
It'll look even better.
Exactly, because the debt to ratio part and our equity on the business will be so much higher. We're looking probably close to a $200,000 addition of value on 8 weeks of work.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Absolutely. And the rezoning is the biggest part. Because before the first appraisal was done, it was still residential. Now the agricultural rezoning, the value increases even more.
Why was this rezoning process? Is it tied to the municipality so streamlined? Because we hear such scary horror stories of other municipalities with the red tape. It seemed like that wasn't the case.
It was not the case. And again, kudos to the Orange County Economic Development. They do have exactly what it says, a fast track approach to new businesses coming to the municipality. Yes. So again, anyone looking for opportunity, Orange County has a lot of opportunities for businesses there. And they're very aggressive into kind of welcome you, for sure.
That's a good tip right there for entrepreneurs that are listening. How about what is Patch? We know so many awesome breweries in this area. What is Patch kind of going to be kind of like a combination of? If like elements of this and elements of this and elements of this?
I would say locally, I would expect us to reflect a little bit of Pro Renata, a little bit of Devil's Backbone.
Okay.
I think a combo of those two, I think, will be an accurate kind of description for what we are.
Okay.
We're definitely looking for the live music component.
Okay.
So music will be a big part for us. We're going to have an outdoor stage and also an indoor stage for music. I don't think Patch will become a huge wedding venue.
Callie Barber just posted that question about weddings.
It can. I mean, we could absolutely host weddings, but I think our theme and our decor will be very rustic. We have a lot of wine barrels. We've been super, Blue Mountain Barrel House has been super awesome to us to allow us to buy those barrels from them at a really good price. We're using a lot of wine barrels, a lot of stream lights. It's going to be a farm brewery, right? So my vision of weddings, I think of Keswick Vineyards, King Family, a little more upscale. But for us, bachelor parties, birthdays, any kind of celebration, that is absolutely within our wheelhouse for sure.
Fantastic. How about you've touched on this already. You have Keswick, which we love.
Mm-hmm.
You have Castle Hill.
It's an awesome place.
We have Craig Hartman, Chef Hartman with BBQ Exchange, Ice House. You just educated us that he's planning a distillery, which is amazing.
Down the road, and then you have Well Hung,
Neil Williamson's
awesome place. He's absolutely booming there.
Yeah.
And then just now we added back towards Keswick, Mary Mill Vineyard.
And you've been to Mary Mill?
A couple times.
Yeah, with your wife, right?
Yeah, and kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic venue, beautiful spot, great wines, hospitality has been great. So we're actually very excited because Route 231 is really transforming itself from before we had 2 venues there. Now
Castle Hill and
Keswick,
yeah.
and then now by fall we're going to have 4, Mary Mill and Patch.
What's the impact that has? And you know this better than everyone, you and John. The impact of having a cluster, having on an area like that.
It's absolutely a game changer for the destination because now you become a much more attractive destination for visitors. Just to give an example with Hop Home, currently we have one bus that does the Barboursville route. So we stop at Castle Hill, Keswick, and go all the way to Barboursville. That's far, yeah, but it's a nice route. Yeah. So we're going to be adding those stops to those buses now, and once Patch opens, we're going to be adding more buses to that route. So we're going to be increasing the number of visitors to that. And I think that's when the collaboration between your 2 businesses will come into. Hop On, we do have a fantastic database of craft customers.
Right.
We do thousands of people every year that come to visit us. So they will be the first ones to know about Route 231, about Patch. So we're very excited about that.
And put it in perspective how the 231 route was overlooked and preferred, that folks wanted the 151 instead. I would think that when people are just doing a Google Maps search and typing in breweries or wineries and they see where the specs are, if they see only a couple of those red arrows on this side of the county and a ton over here in Nelson and western part of the county, that everyone's going to say there. I mean, you know this with the calls you get, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's undeniable the power of attraction that Route 151 has. And by right, they have a fantastic lineup of products, right? But the benefit of the potential for 231, I think, is the proximity to town and also the proximity to other large centers of population like Richmond, even Northern Virginia as well. It's easier and closer to get to 231 versus 151, right? But I don't think they're ever going to compete against each other. I think they're going to complement each other because we'll give visitors one more reason to visit our area and kind of experience the 2 different routes.
I totally agree with that.
So I think we're going to, as I said, 2-3 years from now is the time frame that I foresee to be an actual destination that has impact.
Kelly Barber says, what's the thinking with beer, wine, and cider? I love the thinking with beer, wine, and cider.
Yes.
More options for customers.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the benefit that John and I had of 6 years of Hop On, we got to see the progression of the different partners that we have in terms of their offerings. So and we easily identify that, yes, to be a craft brewery, you want to focus on the beer. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have amazing beer that's brewed by us, with the best of the ingredients, but also we're going to have wine, cider, seltzer, but we decide that we're not necessarily going to manufacture some of those items, but we're going to partner up with brands that we align ourselves to the same values and same quality of product to have that. So yes, it'll be options for the entire family for sure, and of course no alcoholic beverage for the kids and anyone who does not drink alcohol.
Scott, who let us know about Iron Pipe, wants to know about seating. He has suggestions for stylish, modern, comfortable seating, maybe some custom tables and benches, to create comfortability and sticky factor with the customers.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Scott. I would love to hear from you. As you know, John, his dad, John's they're very talented with woodwork. So we actually are working right now in building. We have wire spools for tables that we're recycling. We're going to have some crate sofa seatings. We're going to have a lot of different type of seatings. First phase, mostly outdoor seatings. We have picnic tables. So social distancing will still be an option, so we're kind of safe because COVID is not completely gone yet. And then phase 2, we do have 4,000 square feet beer hall to fill. So a lot of seating to be planned for the area, so we should be able to do about 200 people inside of that beer hall.
Wow.
I think right now is licensed for 230.
Okay.
And
Inside?
Then inside, so phase 2. And then for phase 1, the pavilion, I think we should have seating for close to 100, and then plus outdoor seating. So we're going to have a lot of space. It's a big compound, so that's the challenge and the opportunity for that property. Anything we decide to do with the property is in large scale.
Sure.
Because everything's so big.
So what would be max customer count at one time? 500? When both phases are done?
When both phases are done, I think we probably could get up to 800 to 1,000.
At one time?
Once, I believe so. Our parking is very large, so we're projected to have a little over 157 parking spots.
Get out of town.
Yes, and then we'll have space for bus parking as well, so there's a lot of opportunity there for space, yes.
So the next logical question is, are we fearful or concerned about staffing for something like this? Because we know the staffing is pinched.
Right, yes and no. And I think, again, given John and I's background in hospitality and service, so we're really looking to the business model we want to do is, it is a brewery, right? We are a brewery. So a lot of self-serving, a lot of technology. We're talking to a couple different POS systems that we want to...
So the self-serve beers, where you come in kind of like draft tap room?
Exactly. Just walk into the bar, grab it, and then we're going to be able to have a little barcode that you scan on your phone. You don't have to download an app. It will be completely cloud-based, where you can order your beer, choice of pick it up, or someone will bring to you as well.
Okay.
But we're going to minimize table service, foreseeing staff issues, and also COVID. So our business is being built as a COVID-proof business in terms of shutdowns or...
Give us some more examples.
So I'd say by having the self-servicing is going to speed up the process,
Sure.
right? So when you come to order, it'll be real fast. Also, by not having someone to take your order, you're also minimizing that interaction.
Sure.
So that should minimize our number of staff members that we need to have. Of course, on a large compound like that, we will have a good amount of staff members. And I think that's the exciting part, to have a lot of local jobs, right? And that's kind of part of the economic impact that we'll have, is creating jobs locally, and that money staying within the community.
I love that. So try to put that in perspective. Jobs potentially open for folks that live in Orange County, Gordonsville, Eastern Albemarle County.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere in
Anywhere,
Central Virginia.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Charlotte, we are 30 minutes away, right?
Yeah.
So I would say by mid-July, August, that's when we'll be starting the recruiting process. We have already secured our leadership team, so we do have a brewer, we have a GM, which I cannot tell you right now,
Sure.
but I can promise you is someone of amazing talent, so we're very excited for that.
Can I ask you the GM? Keep that under wraps for now?
I want to keep under wraps because
Okay.
those two is a combo. So they're
Sure.
like absolutely
Got it.
fantastic group. I think John and I, we are smart enough to recognize that we don't know the craft beer industry to make beer
Sure.
or to manage. So we're relying on very experienced professionals. So we're very excited about that. But yeah, no, the job creation, I think, is a huge part of the whole impact that we're going to have locally. So we're very excited for that. And again, I'm hoping that by fall, our market has kind of come to better terms in terms of staffing. But it's important to say that we, just like we do with Hop On, we do plan in paying a living wage to our staff. So we definitely will be paying a fair amount for that, yes.
John Craig's watching. He says,
Hey, John.
I love that guy. And I respond, you guys are both awesome.
Thank you,
how about,
John.
How about some props for John Craig now that he's watching?
Yeah.
You're here, John, he's here in the 69-degree air condition here. John, are you, they're both grinding here. How about some props for John Craig?
Now, John Craig is unbelievable, talented,
Yeah, he is.
smart.
It's very Renaissance. You were Renaissance too.
Nah, but we're opposites, right? So he's amazing with his hands. He can build anything. He can make anything. He's blessed enough to have his dad around who can help him and guide him in some of the things. But those two, man, they're like working hard, like physically hard. And again, nothing could have done without that, John. So I really appreciate him so much. I really do. And he knows that. So it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, they have a great business partnership, guys, these two. They are crushing it. How do you build revenue projections for a brewery like this? I mean,
Right.
is that like kind of like walk me through it.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a science and a little bit of a guesstimation,
Okay.
right? We're relying on actually data from local breweries.
Okay.
So that's an awesome thing about the local craft scene is everyone is really open and willing to help. So we're relying on actual data from local breweries. The challenge is the location. We're in different locations. We're in the same market, but different locations. So to kind of try to discount that, because as we talk about, 231 is not a massive destination yet. So we have to adjust that. And then on top of that, you want to be conservative enough to kind of be realistic. But yeah, it's a science. But again, the projections are crucial because that's what the bank is using to
That's
make
why I
some
asked.
decisions. Yeah, because the one thing I learned about banks is they are going to discount your projections by 30% no matter what.
So even if your projections come in super conservative, they still strip 30% off.
They will. So because on their mind, is entrepreneurs are dreamers, right?
Right.
So you think big.
Would you, if you're offering advice, would you say to the folks that are building the projections that want to go to a bank, build in a 30% buffer, or is that going to make you look foolish coming in with something that's outlandish?
I would say be realistic with your numbers, be
Okay.
true to your projections, and have a frank conversation with your banker and tell them, I'm not inflating numbers, and the biggest thing is tell your sources, right? Tell them where those numbers came from. And again, for us, we have local breweries that are similar in size, that production that we're going to be, that had those hard numbers. So with that it's a very accurate description for the projections, yes.
Very nice. This question. So Patch and the potential economic impact it has, not just on Orange, but not just on Central Virginia, in rolling in your other brands as well. I'm sure you've looked at that and said, all these businesses that we own, put them together, this kind of economic impact on the area. Do you have an idea on that?
I do. So I think it's easier to understand when I tell you that for Patch, it's going to bring us to a much bigger level.
Different
Right? It's
stratosphere.
a different, exactly. Now revenues, you're talking about 7 figures, so it's a much bigger game than we're playing right now.
Right.
But once we combine everything, I would say our impact is truly on. The biggest impact for me is on the labor, right? So Hop On, we have over 40 drivers.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So those are folks who are getting paid a minimum $15 an hour, all the way up to $18, $20 an hour.
To drive the vans.
To drive the buses, right?
The buses, yeah.
Exactly. So that truly, to me, is money that's going back to our local community, that's going to the grocery stores, is going to the small businesses. So I think that's the impact, and I'm hoping to see the same impact at Patch, that the staff that we have an impact on that community with a living wage, right? So I think that's the biggest thing for us. And of course, taxation is another part of
Sure.
it. But yeah, once we combine everything, I mean, we'll be definitely within the 7 figures for sure. So
Did
which is
you
exciting.
get anybody at other municipalities trying to recruit you to their municipality? Like if I'm like in Albemarle or a Fluvanna, I mean, if any economic development office you would think would be chomping at the bit for two guys like you and John who've had business success. I mean, your pop was proven, your proof of performance. People know you're successful. Did anyone recruit you?
No, it did not. And
Did
again,
that shock you?
not really, because
Okay.
again, a lot of those things, no one can know what we're thinking.
So it was
right?
on the
So
DL, that's why.
It was,
Yeah.
and we kept it very quiet, and that's the first time truly I'm speaking open about Patch public, right? Because we want to make sure that we own the property before anything was discussed.
Sure.
So we did not create any false expectations, right? Because again, I have tremendous respect for the Orange County and the town of Gordonsville citizens that, that is an iconic property to their town. I want to be respectful. I want to make sure that we do things the right way. So, and the VFW has so much history. As I said, a lot of people, they grew up going there, they played ball there. So we want to bring it back in the correct light. So we want to be, careful how the announcements we make. So now we can speak freely because we own that property. So there's no coming back.
Jonathan's asking on LinkedIn. I love the questions that come from LinkedIn because they're often a little bit more technical with their questioning. And he wants to get back to financing and said, can Andre offer any insight into financing, rates, bubbles, balloons, and whether or not the rate is fixed, anything at all, and great interview guys is what Jonathan says.
Right, no, absolutely. So in our particular case, bridge loan, it is a 12-month loan, so there's a balloon payment at the end.
Okay.
It's not as scary because we have the SBA coming right behind.
Sure.
So it's interest-only payments for the meantime. Then for the SBA loan, they pretty much have a base, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3.55 right now.
That's the rate?
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's kind of what they have. But the catch for the SBA 7A that we're getting is it's a kind of adjustable rate, so it's a 5-arm.
Oh.
So correct.
So it adjusts every 5 years?
At 5 years.
To market?
Correct.
Okay.
Which that is pretty much fire on our bellies.
Is that norm? Is that standard?
That's standard because each bank, so the SBA allows the bank to kind of create the settings, and my kind of looking around my experience with all the banks, they all do an adjustable rate.
Interesting.
Correct, because if you think about right now,
they'd be leaving money on the table.
Exactly, money is free right now,
Right.
at 4%, 3%. So they want to make sure they have protection. But that, when I said it's fire on our bellies, is because our goal is
to pay it off by the 5-year marker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're planning to do.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is you say 3 1/8?
Correct.
Yeah, 3 1/8 rate. The last thing you would want is if it jumps to.
Who knows in
Who knows
5
what market
years?
is in
Could
5
be
years.
7, 8, 10. Who knows, right?
Do you think you can do that in 5 years?
If our projections are right and we have the same discipline that we had with Hop On, that the owners will not take any penny out of the business, we could, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're saying within 5 years, debt free?
If everything
If you do
aligns.
everything aligns.
Correct.
14-acre parcel,
Yep.
2 massive outbuildings.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
It would be fantastic, and that would, again, leverage us for our next
Of course.
venture, right?
Yeah, because then you would have essentially 2 significant cash cows there
Right.
with Hop On and Patch.
Correct.
And then what's the next idea? I know there is another idea.
There is so many, Jerry. If you ask my
Charlie,
wife,
you love this guy, don't you? Yeah. She's like, slow down, Andre, slow down. Is that what she says or no?
yeah, she's like,
what my wife says.
focus in what you have right now.
Yeah.
But I think that's the fun part of being, now I consider myself a serial entrepreneur.
You are.
Is truly is the process,
Right.
is what is the addiction, right?
The process is the addiction.
To create
Yeah.
something as an idea, implement and go through the whole process, I think that's what's exciting. But yeah, rest assured, John and I, we do have an idea for.
Can I ask you what it
Patch.
is?
No, because no, I can't tell you yet.
Okay.
Because again, remember, we don't like to speak about things until we own or until we have it for sure, because
Sure.
it's about expectations, right? So
Sure.
we want to make sure that we keep it organized and we keep it working hard with our heads down.
Is it not central enough to be the epicenter of Hop On?
No, it's actually very far for
Okay.
our operations.
Got
And
it.
then we also see the value of parking our buses
In the
at our partner
hotels.
hotels.
Yeah.
The marketing response is tremendous. So that was actually part of the decision when we bought land. Is like, initially, you're correct. We want to have space for hop-on buses to be parked, but Patch is not it at all. We're 2 separate entities, so I think that's important to distinct and people to know that it's not going to be a bus parking at all. We'll have buses that come through the weekends on tours, but it's not a parking location for our buses now.
I've always wondered this, and I've been meaning to ask you this,
Yeah.
and this is just me. How does the hotel parking work? Because you're genius to have these beautiful buses strategically positioned all over town.
Right.
I have to go to, Dr. Wagner is one of our clients, and there's a hotel that I pass right by Dr. Wagner's, epicenter, and I see I see your buses everywhere, frankly.
Right. Yes,
Everywhere.
they
And
are
it's
everywhere.
brilliant because it's like it's a billboard.
It's a reminder.
Yeah,
Correct,
for your
yes,
business. How
exactly.
does the parking in the hotels work?
So again, it's all about the partnership, right?
Okay.
So the hotels truly are partners of ours. The kind of exchange or the benefit that we provide to them is they are a pickup location for our tours. In translation, that
You're a smart guy, Andre Xavier.
it translates into more hotel bookings, because when guests are looking to book our tour, that's what we noticed, that about 80% of our guests are booking our tour before the hotel. So on our website, they can see which pickup spots we have, so they can make a decision on their hotel.
So you
based
go
on
to the
our website.
hotel, and frankly, he knows all the hotel people in town.
I'm a
anyway.
former hotel manager.
Yeah,
right?
he's a former hotel manager. So you go to the hotel managers and say, look at this data. I'm bringing you value, the convenience for your guest, and even more importantly, they're booking my business before they're booking your business.
A lot of times,
Let's
yeah.
form a partnership.
Right, and again,
That's brilliant.
which is It's been working so far, and again, we're very, very thankful for the hotels. I think besides the economical benefit is opportunity to a small business to be working with, another business. So I think it's truly a partnership that works for both parties.
Dude, this guy is smart. All right, how about some more macro questions here? I love talking with this guy. We're 50 minutes in, maybe about 5 more minutes or so?
Absolutely, take your time.
What do you think of, how do you feel we're doing coming out of COVID? I was listening to CNBC this morning. Goldman Sachs does this this reopening ticker, and it's tied to confidence.
Right.
And throughout this entire year, it's a 0 to 10, 0 no confidence, 10 the economy's completely reopening and it's gangbusters. This morning, Goldman moved it from 6 to 7. So they acknowledge they're seeing a bump in GDP, economy reopening. The markets are obviously, we know, crushing it right now. How do you feel like we're doing?
I think the U.S. in particular right now is in a really good place. I think the vaccination has everything to do with it. The level of confidence, as we just talked in the beginning, we feel free now.
Yeah.
So the demand for travel is picking up by a lot. I would say the economy right now is starting to thrive. Of course, the restraint is labor. We're facing a very big challenge in terms of labor for the hospitality industry and for the hotels, for the restaurants.
Yeah, everywhere.
In general, and everywhere, retail, everywhere.
Yeah.
But then makes us rethink, right, as a society, is like, are we paying those workers enough, right? And then goes back to the business model. So it's a very interesting time, to say the least, for the businesses. But I would say, correct, I think the confidence is there. I think the demand for craft beverages is the highest. Talking to local breweries, they are actually now struggling with the demand.
Dude, Three Notch is one of our favorite breweries. I love the Minuteman. That's my favorite beer. My wife's favorite beer is the Ghost. Three Notch is out of Ghost. Like, even in their tap room.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, you can get some more Ghost. It's going to be a few weeks before we have it.
Right. They cannot keep up with the demand, right? Which is fantastic news. And I think that is going to continue throughout, the year and moving forward. Because I think people kind of realize that with COVID, they lost some of their freedom. So now is the time that anyone with disposable income will want to go out and explore and enjoy themselves and kind of reward themselves. So I think that's what's behind. But I think, speaking about the economy, right now is a good time. I think right now it is a good time to borrow money if you can. Interest rates are low. Real estate is kind of too high right now, I think, for me at least. Now we're talking about the other day on the show.
The investment.
The investments, for me, is a little, I don't think it's the right time.
Okay.
But
because you wanted Waynesboro, Lynchburg?
Yeah, I'm looking at those markets because it's the more affordable. That's the entry level I can afford, right?
Yeah. What are you looking at? Like multi-unit? What are you?
Probably duplexes. And, but I'm not opposed to single family either. But a little down the road, I'm focused on patch right now.
Sure.
So we have time.
Yeah.
But going back to, the economy, I think it's warming up, right? Of course, the concern down the road will be the debt that we're acquiring
I'm very concerned about that.
And as a society and business. But again, comparing ourselves to other countries like Japan and some other European countries, which actually is not as bad as they are as well. So, but there's a lot of things to do. And then, of course, inflation is of a concern. We're experiencing that firsthand at Patch. The cost of materials, wood is through the roof. Everything is more expensive right now. So it's kind of interesting to see how inflation will play a role on our society. But I would say overall is a great time to be alive. I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. You just have to find it and do something that that you can do it.
Brian is asking on Twitter if he thinks the jobs, he said, Jerry, ask Andre if he thinks the jobs will in fact return to market, or will automation, like he just described early in the show, replace those jobs?
I think a mix of both.
Okay.
Truly.
Because if you pay people more money, and we're all for paying people a living wage, especially here, it's extremely expensive. Okay, we got to pay our team members the right amount of money here. We're all for that. But if you start paying team members more money, and you're trying to make the same amount of money or more than you previously did, you either have to get more customers, which is easier said than done.
Right.
You have to streamline the business where you're cutting out some inefficiencies.
Correct.
Or you have to create a brand new revenue stream, which is easier said than done. I would think the small and medium-sized business owners are first going to try to make the model more efficient because they can't necessarily guarantee new customers or additional customers, right?
That is probably the more logical path,
Right.
correct?
Because they can control it more.
Correct, but also you have to think about that you're going to see price increases on products and services.
Sure.
That extra revenue is necessary to cover your additional expenses now.
Right.
So I think the whole cycle is going to create more expensive products.
I agree.
In the short to mid range, and then who
And then
knows
at
in the
that point,
future.
it's going to be all about the value proposition is going to be the service you provide
Correct.
to justify the higher price point.
Correct, and I think at Patch, I think that's important to us is the experience, right? We're selling an experience more so than just beer.
Yeah.
Right? Beer is one product that we can control, it's easy, but I think the overall experience is what's going to dictate how much money people are willing to pay and spend. So I think that's the important part for us.
Do we think that, and this question's coming in from a couple of people, Jerry, how about this one? This is from Jonathan. Ask Andre, when does he think people are going to get back to work and start working again?
Well, I think people are working right now.
Okay.
I think that question probably, and I'm assuming, has the behind
probably tied to the
unemployment,
Yeah,
correct?
right.
I would say that phase I think has passed because now the new restrictions, the new requirements of 2 interviews a week, so they're making it a little harder.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing, a lot of the, especially hospitality workers and restaurant workers, some people may have changed
They found
careers.
new careers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They find, online works or different kind of line of work that are paying more,
Right.
and they're working
Better
less. Better hours, the whole thing. So I think that's the shift we're seeing right now, and it's going to take a little bit to the market to adjust. And and it's very localized. So I think Charlottesville has its own problems, and Richmond will have their own problems. So it's very localized. It's not a nationwide challenge. I think it's locality.
Are you bullish Charlottesville, Virginia?
Oh yes,
100%?
100%. I think Charlottesville, besides all the challenges that we have in terms of politics, I think Charlottesville has proven that we're above that as a destination. So I think in terms of tourism, I'm speaking purely in terms of weddings. I'm looking at my business, right? So 2021, fantastic numbers. 2022 is going to be even bigger. So I think our destination has the potential to attract a lot of visitors. I think now even more because of COVID, Northern Virginians, people in the cities are looking for the outdoor experience within driving distance. So I think we're in a very good position to capitalize on that for sure as a destination.
So you see we're in 2021 now, you see 2022 as?
Probably bigger than 21 for sure.
Bigger
And
than 2019?
I would say we'll probably be on the same level.
Wow,
I really
because
think
2019
so.
was gangbusters.
Yeah, I really think so. Just based on my own businesses, seeing the kind of booking trends, I truly think that by next year we should be back to a normal level of business for sure.
On LinkedIn, Jerry asked your guests if business travel is going to return midweek business.
Well, let's not forget that Charlottesville, as a destination, never had midweek business,
Okay,
right? So
good
we
point.
always been a weekend destination. And I would say that's been my biggest challenge as an entrepreneur on the tourism side is how can I attract clients midweek? And for some reason, I cannot really tell you why, or it's not only one reason. Charlottesville never was a destination for midweek. There is hope that with the new convention center that UVA is building, that could change.
You think it will?
I don't think so. I think it will be a very centralized kind of UVA thing. I don't think it's going to be big enough to attract conferences and, as you mentioned, sports, conventions, all those things that we have the potential for. But for some reason, as a destination, we never figure out. We never market ourselves as such. So we are a weekend destination.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been fantastic. You may have picked up an account at El Mariachi.
There you go. I know. That's awesome. Thank you, Johnny.
This guy, how about a final word for everyone that's listening?
Well, I would say, I just want to say thank you, truly, to you for the space.
Sure.
Thank you for our community for supporting all of our business over the years. Thank you for Orange County to allow us to come in with Patch. We're very excited for the future. I truly know in my heart that Patch will be an awesome venue. We're going to have a fantastic experience for everyone, and we're very thankful for all the support and looking forward to welcome you all at Patch.
Dude, you hit a home run today.
Thank you.
You crushed this.
Appreciate it.
Andre Xavier crushed this interview. We will archive this on iloveseville.com and on every social media platform out there. Andre Xavier and Patch Brewing Co. We are going to be one of the first, my family and I, to support this business where we live. It is a hop, skip, and a jump around the corner from us. And you heard what he said, not even 30 minutes from downtown Charlottesville.
28, yeah.
Patch. So this is going to be, guys, one of the hot spots for sure. So grand opening?
So phase one, probably first week of September.
Okay.
That's kind of what we're looking for, outdoor seating, the pavilion seating, and then phase two, mid-March, maybe early April next year.
Okay, and then how about this one? I should ask this question. This just came in.
Sure.
TVs for viewing sports?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So TVs, we're going to have flat screens throughout the indoor portion. Outside, we're still looking for a better solution.
Okay.
Live music, so there'll be entertainment, so there will be a lot of fun things, tons of games outside, all the good stuff. So yeah, it will be a fun place.
Cool. We can't wait, guys. That's the show. That's the I Love Seville show today. Let me let you know what's happening tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is our Mountain View Moms Roundtable. We have, I believe, 5 moms from Mountain View Elementary, and a couple of these moms, their children are rising 5th graders who are being displaced from their elementary school and being asked to go to Walton Middle School. So one thing I've learned about my wife and most moms in general, when it comes to their kid, you don't want to cross a mom when it comes to their kid. Tomorrow is a Mountain View Elementary Roundtable with PTO President Jem McCarter leading the charge on the I Love Seville show. Thank you for joining us today. 3 o'clock this afternoon, it's What's Barking Local with Angie Gunter, the Executive Director of the Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA at 3 o'clock on set. Patty Bowden as well. You guys have a good one. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It was so fun.
That was great.